there are a lot of progress in those areas, but where we work, there are challenges. But in the sub-region of West Africa, we try to work on things like in Liberia. We try to introduce some of the programs that we are doing presently to do online learning, which has been helpful to most of our students. We have students in Cote d'Ivoire, in Liberia, in Nigeria, and other places. And so we try to do their learning process online, which has been challenged many times because of the internet connectivity, because enough Eastern Africa and Liberia that we work in the past that we still work. We work in Cote d'Ivoire, out of Cote d'Ivoire. And these are the challenges that have been in Cote d'Ivoire. The digital system, learning system environment is more conducive as compared to these other countries. But internet connectivity, access to computer, and if the learning process for students. I have a niece that I sponsor in school, and she's going to her third year in college, and she doesn't even know how to use computer. She just entered computer school this year, going to her third year in college. So this is just to say that there are some progress that have been made, but looking at the challenges, I think the challenges are more than the progress in our region or in some of the countries in West Africa or Central Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that. My network was jittery. Thank you very much. Very, very insightful. Can we have Mr. Clifford? Mr. Clifford, can you hear me?
Okay, yes, I'm hearing you. Can you hear me also?
Yes, I can. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this opportunity. So I'm going to ask you, what key milestones have you observed in your education system regarding the integration of technology in teaching and in learning also?
So thank you so much again for the question. Like my fellow panelists from Ivory Coast mentioned about Liberia, we have been having series of challenges when it comes to technology, the use of technology. Like he stated, you find most high school students and even college graduates, they are not able to adequately use technology as it relates to the use of a computer. So one step forward is that we have found out now in our country, in Liberia, for instance, that ICT is now becoming a part of our national curriculum. Since down that if you visit few schools or most of the schools in Liberia now, the schools are now teaching basic computer skills. So that was a big sign that the government, too, in line with other key stakeholders, are beginning to see the value of technology in education. So we have had other community-based projects, solar power devices, the radio offline learning apps that are reaching students now currently in Liberia. With fundings from donors and other partners, they are now visiting the rural areas too. So these initiatives are actually making a real difference in Liberia, especially where in now technology is being taught in the schools. Students are getting now to understand the importance of information technology as it relates to their learning process. So it's now becoming a part of our national curriculum, though there is still a gap. We have the gap there. It is true that a few private schools in our cities are beginning to introduce the digital tools, and though there are challenges within the interior, but these gaps are being filled now by the introduction of the technology aspect within our curriculum. So there is growth, there is progress, but we are still far from where we need to be. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was very, very, very insightful. And I will come back to you again. Let's have Miss Professor Gladys, exceptional leader. Please join me. Professor Gladys, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Greetings, ma'am. I hope you are well. Okay, so my question is, what are the most pressing challenges preventing full digital adoption in your school system? So this will focus where you work or in schools that are close by in your country. Miss Ladies, Professor?
Thank you.
Okay.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you. Professor Gladys.
Yes, I'm Professor Gladys Jack, a professor of chemistry and science education from Taraba State University, Jalingo in Nigeria. Like in the aspect of technology, which in this digital age cannot be overruled, we try to bridge the gap between the science education and the digital tools, both in public universities and secondary schools. But from my research work, I noticed there's still a serious gap in secondary schools, because when the researches that have been carried out to find out the availability, the access, and the usage of the digital tools, the ICT resources, mostly in the secondary schools, there's still serious gap. And but in the universities, I noticed from research work, there is great improvement, because like in my teaching aspects, I involve technology in science classrooms. And though the resource materials needed are not fully there, but there's when you try and leverage on the interactive learning, like some of the researches I carried out in my area of specialization, which is chemistry. There are some of these complex topics, and some materials or some substances like in acid that are complex, that we can leverage on technology using interactive simulations, using virtual labs. I use more of PEF simulations. I noticed that students really do understand, like, just the physical materials. And you know, one of the problems we have in most of our schools, not only in Nigeria, but across West Africa, just as the panelists have said, there is a limited resource. So with leveraging on the technology, we go a long way for students and teachers to be able to deal with or work with complex scientific concepts, and also explore dangerous or impractical experiments safely and repeatedly without being afraid. So if the aspect of both using the visual labs, multimedia helps in that. And also providing digital resources, fostering digital literacy. In this part of the world, digital illiteracy is still a problem. But I know that we are still on the Nigeria, and looking forward to a digital literacy all around, and creative collaborative learning environment that will make it easier for every one of us. And if one of the problem I noticed is most of the teachers, they are not also good in technology. And that there will be improvement as years go by, because when the development in digital literacy programs is also supporting access to digital resources, mostly open educational resources. In universities, from my findings, I saw that universities have, but the accessibility and usage is still very poor. They have that, and when they're through school provided devices, internet access to classrooms and libraries, it will help to promote more digital transformation in our science classroom. In this 21st century, we are advocating for an active classroom where students are actively engaged. And we're also advocating for all-inclusive. Equity matters a lot, and a collaboration with that. And I know that when technology is being used in our classrooms, it will help in bringing transformation in the 21st century. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. And with the summit coming, I'm hoping that there will be solutions to solving these challenges, especially the teacher training one. Let's move to Dr. Kofi. Dr. Kofi Toko, can you hear me?
Are you talking about me, Kofi Abuchi?
Kofi.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Great and welcome. Thank you for gracing us. My question to you is, from your experience, how would you describe the current state of digital transformation in schools across Togo, your country?
Thank you. My straightforward answer would be very slow. The digital transformation is very, very slow here. That's why, of course, I think these platforms are very important for us to share experiences. You know, if we go through West Africa, some countries are doing a lot of effort. Some countries are putting in a lot of effort in terms of digital transformation in education, but others like mine are lagging behind. We have a long way to go. I don't know how it is in some countries, but you know, you meet students here at the university who do not know how to create an email address. You'll be like, how is that possible? You meet students at the university who cannot process a test in Microsoft Word without the help of someone, like simple tests. They cannot process it in Microsoft Word. The only thing most of the students I meet at the university, the only thing they are good at is, you know, using smartphone, especially WhatsApp, and maybe some of them Telegram, some of them Instagram and Facebook. But for them to use the smartphone for educational purposes, like subscribing to some website, using YouTube as a platform of learning, is a serious problem. And as I said, it's because the digital transformation is very low in the country. Students still learn as in the 20th century. You know, they go to school, they have a teacher there who teach them, they take note, they come back home. You know, for me, digital transformation starts with the IT classes. You know, early in their childhood, children should be taught IT. You know, in the school, they have to know and master the information technology tools, but which they don't do. Many of them will go all the way till senior high school without ever touching a computer in their life. Some of them, with their parents' help, they can't. And now I know the government has been initiating some programs for computer classes in secondary schools. This, I don't know how far it has gone, but it's just I will say it's just the beginning. It's something that is coming, but not very effective so far. The last thing maybe I would say is with the advent of COVID-19 in 2020, you know, many countries have initiated programs to move into the digital age in terms of education, because schools have been closed and classes have to be put online. And when that was initiated in Togo, I can say it went very bad. While that was a great solution for us, because this is not about only the COVID-19 era, because even before the COVID-19, we have few classrooms at the university, Université de Lomé, where I am, few classrooms with a very limited number of lecturers. For your information, there are hundreds of doctorate holders here waiting for recruitment, and the song we used to hear is no budget for you, and we don't have enough classrooms. And seriously, yes, that is true. Not enough classrooms. As you don't have enough classrooms, you have to go to the digital. You have to use the digital to organize classes and recruit lecturers. But efforts are very, very weak in that regard. And even until now, as I say, part of the classes are being given online. But, you know, lecturers go into class and students are not there. They are not there because they find it boring. They don't find it interesting. And many of them, the hassle they have to go through before joining the class itself, make it already, you know, worrisome or burdensome. It's like, why do I have to go? But of course, as I said, this is a great, you know, it should be a great solution for us, because in view of the problems we have, we need to go digital. But, you know, as the goodwill to invest in education is not there, because if it were there, there would have been enough classrooms. Why can't they build classrooms? You know, but yes, we are waiting. We are expecting change in the future, but the digital transformation in my country is still something we are expecting, like the coming of Jesus. Maybe to come soon, and the soon, we don't know how soon that soon will be. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I am I understand what you're saying, because also here in South Africa, it's a it's moving very, very slow. Like last week, they even froze the I think how I can put it is the first parts of digitalizing our schools, especially primary school, with coding and robotics. So they were like, okay, for you, we're not implementing it. We're supposed to be in action next year. So they're like, okay, on hold. So I think the government is also making us educators to be unorganized and clueless. Yeah, but then let's hope there'll be salvation in that patch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. Dr. Wisdom, please join me from Ghana. Dr. Wisdom. Dr. Wisdom, are you present?
Yes, I'm here, right here.
Hey, thank you.
Right here.
Africa. Yeah, countries are facing different challenges and all. So I would like to know from your side, what are the most pressing challenges preventing the full digital adoption in your school system in Ghana?
Very well. Respectfully, greetings to all my panelists. Thank you. In responding to your question vividly and respectfully, the world is advancing. It's like a moving wagon, a moving train, and you need interpersonal skills to actually move into such direction to achieve that excellence that we needed. And most of the problem that based on my research and my experiences on many schools, is that lack of, laid down infrastructure concerning these edutech policies. And most of them have become, they are all light in certain areas to actually enhance those programs, especially in the rural community, access to electricity, poor network infrastructure concerning connectivity into network and into data accessibility. And these are some of the things that are actually becoming one of the principal problems in engaging our people into this sector of education, be it the private sector, be it the public sector of education. And this has become one of the issues I think the government is actually hitting hard to actually work on. And other one is also talking about funding. Limited funding and resources, okay, are also one of the problems when it comes to edutech policies. Then the other ones that are the purchases of digital devices and infrastructure in many schools. There are schools, they don't have a laboratory. There are schools, they don't have their data center. There are schools, they don't have, how do we call it, technological devices to actually train with. So it's like, as Professor rightly said, in West Africa, it has become a norm in West Africa concerning this digital education. In that they can read it in the book and they know it in the book, but they don't know the practicality aspect of it. So it has become a problem. So the person knows it in the book, but when you give that person what you learn, this is it, what does it talk about? He will still be in a very state of naiveness because they don't know anything about that. So that is some of the things. And most of the additional challenges also having to do with the digital transformation in Western African schools. Most of them also include limited technical support and maintenance. Limited, technical support and maintenance is a problem in the Sub-Saharan Africa. Talking about in an West African region, talking about maintenance and talking about, I went to a school and their system has been broken down for so many time, and they don't have even engineers to work at it. And the students cannot go on to the practical, but they only deal with the theoretical aspect. So limited technical support and maintenance is also the. Then the cybersecurity concern. Cybersecurity concern is one of the major problems when it comes to digital transformation in these West African schools. And then also we have limited parental and community engagement. Limited parental and then community engagement. So, parental influence, okay, negatively is also a major problem. In exposing their words to, digital, infrastructure and policy. And then community engagement, okay? So the community, in a given community, the education director is supposed to operate in in edutech, which will actually benefit the community, as Professor Kofi Abuchi rightly said, that is supposed to be from the infancy they grow. So maybe from the basics to the secondary to the tertiary. So by the time they get to the secondary to the tertiary, they are genius when it comes to computer literate. They are very genius that. But when they grow, as he rightly says, some people in the university, they don't even know how to operate in their email, as Professor rightly says. So it's a very big problem, which I think it needs a very sensitive attention to it. So just to mention this few, I believe that lack of training and support for teachers and students also has become a major problem. Okay, support for training and teachers for digital, implementation has become a problem in Africa. So, sorry, in West Africa as a whole. So I believe that when we resolve all these, I think West Africa could stand in a better place when it comes to this digital implementation sustainability. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Setse. Thank you very much. I think we as Africa were facing a lot of similar challenges. We also don't have electricity every now and then. So yeah, it's a challenge. Mr. Sanga, are you present? Can you hear me, Mr. Sanga? Mr. Sanga from Senegal has been having a challenge with network. You know, Mr. Sanga?
Bonjour. Bonjour, est-ce que vous me recevez?
Good afternoon. How are you, sir?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Vous
Welcome.
me recevez?
Nous te recevons, mais je ne sais pas s'il y a tout le monde qui comprend le français. S'il y a pas de, si tout le monde ne comprend pas, je peux t'aider à interpréter.
Oui, vous me servez d'interprète, s'il vous plaît.
Ok, merci, il n'y a pas de souci.
D'accord, j'avais quelques soucis avec le microphone, je suis vraiment désolé. Je suis Sanga Diong, je suis inspecteur de l'enseignement.
Okay, this is Mr. Jongo is extending his apology for his device that was having some challenges, but he's an inspector of education. He's an educational inspector in Senegal.
Je suis l'assistant du projet du ministère de l'Éducation.
He's the assistant director for project administration at the Ministry of Education in Senegal.
Pour le développement du téléenseignement.
For educational development.
Le projet est né suite à la pandémie que nous connaissons tous, le COVID-19.
This project was birthed during the COVID-19 pandemic period.
C'est pour mettre en cohérence l'ensemble des investissements au niveau du ministère.
It's actually to put resources together for investment resources together at the Ministry of Education.
Très rapidement, avec la traduction, pour gagner du temps, je vais résumer en 4 points.
Okay, you want to just summarize it in 4 points quickly.
Déjà, le pays a bâti une vision pour le développement du numérique.
They have built a digital city for advanced digital advancement in Senegal. That's the Ministry of Education.
Il y a la stratégie nationale globale qui concerne l'ensemble des ministères.
And it's a combined efforts of the cabinet, all the ministries joined together.
Maintenant, il y a une stratégie spécifique au ministère de l'Éducation.
And there's a specific strategy for the Ministry of Education.
Ces stratégies sont déclinées en missions portées par des services.
They have categorized that into various missions to render services to the educational system in the country.
Il y a la DPTIC, technologie Comme encore, je vais essayer de faire un peu du français. ICT Promotion Division,
They have
Ministry of
a
Education
ICT
Project
Promotion
for the
Division.
Development of Distance Learning. Je vais essayer de voir ce que j'ai traduit avec DeepL.
Okay.
School
He
Radio
wants to
and
read what
Television.
he translated in English. So just listen keenly to him, please.
School Radio and Television Division. Au-delà maintenant de ces services, il y a maintenant la ligne de cohérence pédagogique. Nous avons un portail
Besides this,
agrégateur portal, Learning Showcast Platform, Training Platform for teachers. Nous nous appuyons également sur le LMS Google Classroom.
they have learning classroom for teachers and for students, and they have the Google Classroom. Those are projects that have been developed by the Ministry of Education in Senegal. Where he
Ce qu'il
works,
faut
the
noter au
department he
Sénégal, c'est
works
qu'il y
in.
a un portail qui agrège l'ensemble des plateformes d'apprentissage du ministère.
Je n'ai pas bien compris cette partie.
Il y a un portail où, quand vous cliquez, vous avez l'ensemble des plateformes d'apprentissage au niveau du ministère.
Okay, they have a website where when you click on that website, you get to see the entire platform at the Ministry of Education that gives you all the information on what they do.
Dans ce portail, maintenant, il y a une vitrine dédiée aux élèves.
And under that portal, there is also a window for students that is specifically for students.
Maintenant, il y a une autre fenêtre dédiée aux enseignants pour leur formation.
There also another portal for teachers for their own training programs.
Et dans cette plateforme, c'est pour anticiper sur l'autre question qui nous a été posée, il y a au moins les 6 langues qui sont développées, la langue française et 6 langues locales.
Okay, on that platform, they have the teaching programs set in 6 different languages, French and English, and then 6 other languages, 4 other languages, local languages.
C'est pour aller dans le sens d'un modèle, il y a un modèle harmonisé d'enseignement bilingue au Sénégal.
And so they've worked towards a bilingual teaching educational system in Senegal presently.
À côté des plateformes maintenant, le ministère a donné des équipements. Il y a des flybox, plus de 4000 flybox qui ont été distribués à titre expérimental.
They gave a flybox of, about 4,000 flybox were distributed across the country.
Il y a plus de 10 000 tablettes avec des contenus embarqués.
They have distributed also about 10,000 tablets with all the content, the necessary content embedded within those tablets.
Ces contenus, c'est pour être diffusés au niveau des zones qui n'ont pas d'Internet, qui n'ont pas accès aux plateformes.
Those tablets are used in places where they don't have internet connection or they're not connected to the network at the headquarters.
Maintenant, pour les exclure, au-delà des variables environnementales, zone rurale, il y a également un projet qu'on appelle projet École ouverte avec la Banque mondiale.
They have a World Bank project called École mondiale and EVAD. Tu as dit EVAD?
C'est pour prendre en charge les exclus du système et les groupes vulnérables.
Okay, they have that platform where they try to reach out to vulnerable groups and also other groups that exist also within the different communities that don't have access.
Je conclue maintenant par une autre expérience développée avec une entreprise japonaise.
There's another program developed by a Japanese company
pour les zones qui n'ont pas d'électricité.
For those who don't have electricity.
Il s'agit d'avoir un dispositif qui combine un peu l'énergie solaire et l'intranet pour les écoles de la localité.
Okay, they have local programs, programs that are used in local communities that use with solar energy and other materials also.
Mon dernier point maintenant, c'est sur le partenariat entre les opérateurs en téléphonie, Sonatel, Free.
Now, his last point is on the coordination or cooperation or partnership with the mobile companies that are working in Senegal, operating in Senegal.
Les startups TIS qui contribuent pour le développement du téléenseignement au niveau du ministère. On les réunit tous dans des instances pour voir ce qu'on peut faire ensemble. Donc voilà, merci pour votre aimable attention.
And so they've tried to group all of the mobile companies in Senegal to work alongside in partnership to see how they can develop the program. I mean, how they can work together for the benefit of the people.
Thank you very much pour la tradition. Merci.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sanga, and thank you for finally joining us. Mr. Maurice Esther, thank you very much for assisting. Okay, so that was our first round of set of questions from all our speakers, and I'd like to say hello to our listeners. Greetings. Greetings to our listeners. Just to note that since you are part of the conversation, you can just jot down your question there. If you want to make a follow-up question to our speakers, you can just send it there by the chats. And also greet them and say which country you're from. And thank you once again for joining us. Okay, from the break, short break, and I was speaking with the VVIPs, our listeners. I am going to go to round 2. Well, okay, Mr. Morris, coming back to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. Thank you once again. I'm grateful for you. Okay, questions. I will ask you 2 questions, and then you can just combine their responses. Number 1 will be, what unique approaches has your institution taken to build digital competencies in students across Francophone West Africa? And also, how can public and private partnerships accelerate the digital literacy in technical and vocational education in institutions like yours?
Thank you very much for this question. What we've been doing for the last 2.5 years is to do a research in most of the Francophone nations that we work in. And it's been actually focused on trying to see what are the possibilities of getting these different materials to the people who need it. Access to materials, the ball equipment, and like was said by some of the other panelists, access to computer in most of the countries are very challenging. Number one, cost is high. And so what we've been doing is to do a research, and our desire is to see that we understand better, having visited more than close to maybe 10 different nations in Francophone Africa. We now have come to realize the needs in those places like Mali, places like Burkina Faso, places like Chad, Gabon, and so on and so forth. We have, like those on Togo can tell you more about that. Benin, you can see the same thing. And so we've been trying to look at, first of all, the problem. How do we understand the problem that exists? Number one thing we discover is cost. Cost of computers are very high. And in Cote d'Ivoire, same thing. Cost of computers are very high. That's why I said, first of all, my first statement on this platform today was, this digital sphere has not yet gotten to a level playing field. In other countries, it is a civil, how do you call it? A human right to have access to computers. So nations will work hard for every citizen to have computer, but in Africa, it is solely private. And so the observation we've had in those places that we've been working for the past 2.5 years to see what is happening is to really know the challenges. The people cannot afford to buy a computer. So what can be done? And we're looking at designing a project that can be presented to policy makers and decision makers in government to come up with some level of decision, like some of the things maybe some of the people here may know about it or may use it maybe in their places or look at it, look into it, is to see how government can begin to get onto the mobile companies and see how they can look at the cost of computer marketing in the nation. First of all, the mobile companies' internet is very high in some countries, and you go to places like Northern Cameroon where we work, and you will pay for a data for like $5, $10, and by the evening it's finished. You can't even go a day, 24 hours on the internet or trying to do some work on the internet with $10 data in these countries. Chad, the same thing. They depend on Cameroon for that, and Northern Cameroon is having a challenge with digitization of the different institutions that they have there. And so looking at it, we believe that we are working together with other partners to begin to put up forth to our policymakers proposals and suggestions that will get us to a point where they can look at, number one, the cost of computer, because cost will bring access, and cost will bring also hindrance to access. And so if they can look at taxes on electronic equipment in these countries, and mobile companies can be also used as a means of getting the data cost brought down for the benefit of schools and other places. Well, 10 years ago, Mali, in the National University, they had over 80,000 students, and maybe less than 10% or less than 25% of those students, less than 25 or 20, had access to computer. So how do you learn in such an environment? Maybe it has changed now, but these are issues that we are looking at, and so we are working towards that, mostly on a policy, developing a policy project that will let government look at these things in a different way, that schools can have access to buying computers at a low cost if there can be some tax reduction, and also mobile companies that offer these different internet access, having also consideration for schools, not just for public schools, but private schools. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Morris. Thank you very much. Yes, data is very, very expensive. If it's expensive for adults, it will be a struggle for the learners to use it in their classes.
Just a minute, please. Just to make a little comment. I don't want to call the name of the country because maybe others on this platform come from there. We might create a problem. But we try to buy about 7 to 10 laptop computers, used computers, and we've got the laptops. We pay for them. We will supply the used laptop computers, and get into the school to set it up. Some of those computers were never able to come on to work. Maybe out of almost 10, only 2 or 3 were able to work, and we never got the money back. We never got any solution to that problem, and the money just got lost, and we lost all the computer and the money. The few that were able to survive for a few months didn't stay too long. Just to tell you how much people go through after such losses. You may not have the courage again to spend such a money. Thank you.
That's just it. Maybe you can make a follow-up there, and then they can repay you back. Okay, Mr. Clifford. Thank you, Mr. Morris. Thank you very much. That was very, very insightful. Mr. Clifford, Mr. Payne.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me again. I have a questions here. Question 1 is, your initiative has empowered grassroots learning in Liberia. What role does digital learning play in reaching undeserved communities in post-conflict regions? And also, how do you ensure sustainability and engagement in EdTech programs at the community level?
All right, so thank you for the question. In my opinion, digital learning play a very important role. So in places where there are no trained teachers or textbooks, technology helps us bridge the gap. So through my organization, Never Stop Learning, we have been able to train teachers on digital skills And also we have been able to help students with the use of tablets with preloaded lessons. We have had radio programs and also other offline tools to reach children in some of the most forgotten areas. And one of such was in Mangibi County here, where we visited an orphanage home and had a long day with the kids. And we were able to also share with them some digital tools that help with their learning outcome. So for me, these tools or these materials that enhance digital learning in our setting, they are not just fancy solutions, but they actually work. So in a country like Liberia, these tools, they bring hope to children who have been left out for too long. So again, digital learning plays a very important role in this aspect. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Professor Clades. Thank you, Mr. Clifford. Professor Clades, I'm coming
Yes,
back
please.
to you. It's for round
Yeah.
2. As a scholar in STEM, how can we bridge the gap between science education and digital tools in public universities and also in secondary schools in Nigeria? And also, how do you see digital labs and AI reshaping the future of science education in Nigeria and across the continent as a whole?
Okay, thank you. Despite all the limitations that we see in the digital learning and AI, but I want to really say that in we breaking fully from the traditional classrooms, which has really been a challenge, and having an equity classroom, a collaborative classroom, where learning will not just be within the 4 walls of the classroom, but the students linking, most especially linking with those and interacting with those outside their 4 walls, their communities. We have to bring in technology. And I've seen that in this, it has helped in leveraging interactive learning. And one thing with interactive learning that I've seen as a lecturer in the tertiary institution, and also in my researches, looking at both from the primary to the secondary, which in some places they call high education. I want to say that we cannot overrule in this 21st century, in this digital age, we cannot overrule using digital tools in our classrooms, because it helps for this interactive aspect. And like what I said before, mostly in some complex topics that are, like in science, most of the topics are abstract. If you are talking about like chemistry, some of the topics are abstract. If you want to tell students about atoms, they might not really see it. But with you using technology's tools, and at times there are some in some of the classrooms, mostly in secondary schools, they are inadequate. Most the materials in their labs, they are inadequate. But with the help of using virtual labs, it helps to easily teach, and even PET simulations using the multimedia or the digital resources. It helps to break that gap, or let me say, close the gap of inadequate resource materials in our classrooms. both human and material resources. So integrating it helps to bridge that gap, both in public universities and secondary schools in Nigeria. Like what I said, like in the aspect of, since I teach in the university, I like, in my classrooms, I like introducing technology because it makes it, even when you are not around, your lectures can still go on. You can still supervise your students' projects. You can still carry out your research in a teamwork. Then at the end, you have the discussion online. So it helps to close that gap. And it brings a lot of collaboration. At times, I collaborate with even people outside Nigeria in my researches. So also look at the way of their thinking or their own in their research in their own country, like so that we can do a kind of a collaboration whereby at the end you will, when you find out, you will not know that maybe what is happening in your country is not peculiar to just your country alone, but in the whole of Africa. Now we are streamlining it to West Africa. So like I want to say that when we implement interactive learning platforms, it helps a lot in understanding of complex scientific concepts. And I also said it allows students to explore dangerous impractical experiments safely and repeatedly. And you know, I use more of PEF simulations. I don't know whether, and I know that I've also contributed on that aspect in this PEF simulation a lot. And I advise students also to get involved more in using visual labs and at times also simulations, because there are some complex for safety, and also some of all these materials not available. And I want to also say that it helps in promoting digital access. So digital access to digital resources. And when I'm talking about most universities, though there are lapses in the secondary school aspect of this, having open educational resources, it's very limited schools that have that. We have some limited schools that have that, but some of the schools that have all this, you will see that they don't really have access, mostly in the secondary school. But in the university too, there are some problems like that that emerges. So like what I do advocate more is digital illiteracy. Like in chemistry, I do always talk about chemical illiteracy, whereby most of the concepts can easily be interpreted well and understood well when we collaborate and view it from different angles, from different communities of learning, and at times across the science, basic subjects like physics, chemistry, and biology, and not just streamlining it to one subject. Because like if I say solution now, what another person might mean in interpret it in biology and mathematics will be different from the chemist. So in our collaborative effort, Dear Digital Tools, it has helped a lot. So with and I see that this helped to foster collaborative learning environments, teamwork, which is one of the things in the 21st century classrooms. We are saying that one of the key things is collaboration, and to facilitate even communication and teamwork among students and teachers. You know, this helps to share ideas and build a stronger sense of community, which is what of the key things that we are advocating. In science, science is what we ought to sleep with, eat with, at times play with. Is things that happen every day in our immediate environment. And via this collaboration, we have a link too, for you to know that in different countries, is not just what is happening there alone. So that is the essence of a digital classroom. And I've always advocated for technology in science education. And you know, these personalized learning experiences is very vital in this time and hour. You learn at your speed, you learn at your own time. At times I send a slides to students for them to just learn at their free time will. Then at times you can even give them some prompts that also help them in critical thinking and that. And with this, I can only do this easily and integrate technology even in assessments of students, giving them different assessments, and I get the feedback easily. And in the second question, which you said, how do I see digital labs and AI reshaping the future of science education in Nigeria and across the continent? Thank God I'm an expert in science education, and I love science deeply, and I've been always trying to advocate how we can have, in this 21st century, a digital classroom. And despite the challenges in lack of reliable internet and access and electricity in many parts of Nigeria, which we're also facing as we are having this conversation, but the widespread of adoption of digital tools and the digital illiteracy gap among teachers and students, I know that cannot be emphasized, but knowing the importance of digital labs and AI, in reshaping science education in Nigeria, not only in Nigeria, across Africa and across the globe. It helps in offering innovative solutions to traditional challenges. One thing that we've always been taught in the science classroom, we've always been told about most of the difficult concepts that there are misconceptions these days in our science classrooms. We've always been told, we've not really seen, we've not really experienced. So it makes it more easier introducing digital labs and AI. In the supervision these days, I remember during my time, when you want to carry out a project, you visit other universities. But with the development of AI, at a peak of your table within you, which I've always told the students, even in your phone or your laptops, you can easily get the generative AI of any concept you want. You can also use ChatGPT and all those things, and it has made it easier that learning is now personalized. And you can also do collaborative aspects, chat easily with other communities to find out what is about that. And I want to also say that even in the aspect of this personalized learning experience, it has been so great. I have other degrees and courses from universities in US and other places. All was done through digital learning. So, and in this 21st century, I want to say that I don't think there ought to be any illiterate person. With digital illiteracy, everyone over the globe can be educated, can get certificates in area of their concern, which has really been a great plus to the Gen Z and the 21st century generation. And I want to also talk about that even in automating administrative tasks, it's very easy. At times, I give tasks to different students through online. I know that there are some, even students have supervised all their work that I've never seen them one-on-one in other universities. All is the help of true digital tools. And I want to also talk about the virtual labs. These visual labs and simulations in this 21st century helps in breaking the gap in access to physical infrastructure. Like every one of us from the observations, it is not only in Nigeria alone that we have inadequate or physical infrastructure, our labs are bad, or one problem or the other. But a shift is crucial for equipping students with the skills needed for a technology-driven future. So I want to say that despite all this, I want to say in Nigeria, there are efforts, there are training at times that we go through, we that are in the university, in AI, in technology-based classrooms, but I want to say that there's still a gap, because at times some of these, the problem of electricity, the problem of network is usually a challenge. So if there's improvement to all this, I know that in Nigeria and across the globe and in West Africa, like from what I've observed from all other countries, there will be a plus and a change, and they will navigate from traditional classrooms to a 21st century classrooms whereby every student will be greatly involved and engaged. And if there's one thing I want to say, which is one of the objectives for this 21st century classroom, is it ought to be an active classroom, it ought to be a collaborative classroom, and there ought to be equity. Whereby every student should be able to gain access to the computers, every student should gain access to technology, to network and this, which means our different countries, there should be government support for that. Government support. I know that in Nigeria, I think we have like ULESSON and Mavis Computel, where there are companies that are trying to leverage AI to provide educational content and services. But you know that government support training, it should be a technology driven to ensure that teachers and students are having good access to this. And I know that there are other aspects like artificial intelligence research scheme and the National Center for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics in Nigeria. You know, with this era of technology after COVID, there are development and trying to implement this, but the full implementations in the classroom is what we are saying. The government should help to support so that there will be full implementation. And I want to also say that AI and digital tools, they are revolving science education in Nigeria, and not only in Nigeria, across Africa, by enhancing access, by improving students' learning outcomes, transforming the teaching practices, bringing collaboration, and bringing equity, which is one of the key goals that I've always talked about, and collaboration. In these 21st century skills, this 21st century, we need the 21st century skills to have a classroom that all will be involved, and at the end, there will be a full engagement and improved learning outcomes. So thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very much. You raised very important points there. But then, can we really trust our government to help us as educators, as the education department, to uplift and provide all the resources that we need? Anyway, I know what our government here in South Africa will say to that. Anyway, Dr. Kofi, let's come closer. I'm back to you. Dr. Kofi?
Yes, Ntando, I'm here.
Thank you. Don't disappear. Okay,
Okay.
your 2 questions. You work at the intersection of global education and local systems. How can West African schools learn from global models of digital transformation without losing cultural context? And also, what role can digital exchange programs play in enhancing cross-country educational collaboration in the ECOWAS region?
Okay, thank you, Ntando, for the question. I think the answer is simple. The first and foremost thing we need to see all across Africa is the goodwill from our leaders. The goodwill to invest in education. In fact, political will, like, first of all, many of them are just kind of, okay, we are there because we won the elections and we are there because we are president, we have to enjoy, and we have to do something to show people that we are working, and that's all. And that's what we have been denouncing. I think no matter what we say here, many of those leaders will not change because they don't care. And that's what we need to work for. And I'm encouraging each one of us here to be actors of change all over we are in Africa. Let's talk to the youth. Let's start some work at the grassroots, because many of the people we put in power do not care. Some countries, as I said it, are making a lot of effort. Yes, Ghana here, thank God we have our colleague from Ghana on this panel. If I want to compare what Ghanaians are doing with what we are doing in Togo, there's a big gap. Ghana is far ahead. Ghana is doing a lot of effort in terms of investing in education. Comparing Ghana to Togo, that's what I mean. Togo is far behind. Yes, Ghana is doing a lot, but Ghana still has a lot to do. And one of the setbacks or the obstacle for Ghana to do more than what they are doing is corruption. So you say political will and corruption are things we must fight, because digitalizing education is about investment, and it's not just simple investment, huge investment. We need a lot of money to do that. For example, if you go to Great Britain now, a lot of schools have been making school paper free. Like, students don't need to use paper anymore. Most of the things is on the digital. The classroom is on interactive screens, and then students have the tablets, they have computers to work with, so that in fact we can preserve our planet by not cutting down many trees, because trees are used for producing papers. So for us to move to that stage, we can see all that must be done. A lot of money must be invested into education, and a lot of effort must be done, like in China, to stop our leaders from stealing the money that belongs to the country. Imagine a government, for example, listen to us and like, oh, this is nice, we need to invest in education, and they eject maybe 100 billions into the education system of the country. And are we sure that in 5 months we will find at least 10% of that money in education? Many of the young leaders will run away with the money, which is a pity, and that's the sad reality in my country. Our leader, our head of state, has done a lot of effort these last years to invest money not only in education but in key actors, agriculture, the private sector, and job creation. But most of that money is unaccounted for. Like, it's nowhere to be found because people steal it. So those are efforts, and as educators, as teachers, as public actors or public speakers, let's talk and sensitize people around us, and let's make sure that if ourselves we have the chance to play a key role in education, if we become maybe assistant to the minister of education, or if we become ministers, which is possible, we are leaders here, we can become this. We have to make sure that if we come to those positions, we will use every available resource to promote good education in our country, to promote education. We have to bring revolution in education, because even we know that with the paper system we have, like, education is mostly dependent on paper in Africa. Many students have to use books, textbooks to write, to read, and all these. And we know in that system, many students do not have access to books. Me, I did most of my schooling without having books. Like, reading books, they are nowhere to be found. Sometimes you have the school will offer one for 4 students. 4 students will have to share one book. And some who are not even willing to share, when the book reaches them, they just keep it for 2-3 months. And in this, many of us, books like mathematics and science and physics, not many people will have access to it. So even in that, the paper, I would call it paper-based system, you know, in which we have a lot of challenges. So we have all the benefit. It's in our interest to go digital. It is in our interest because this way, everyone will have access to the available resources. Everybody, every student can study in a free, relaxed environment, and all the innovation we are expecting for can be, you know, enacted or can be launched, and we'll have a lot of great things in Africa. Africa has untamed resources. Africa has, you know, many opportunities around us that we can exploit, but it's because we don't invest a lot in education. So all the debates on this point, I think I'm answering your question. All the debate for me has to do with our political system, the way we govern, because it's not a private sector that will develop education. In my country, the political sector governs a lot, like the party in power controls everything. The private cannot do anything without the consent, without the approval of the public sector. So all turns around that. And this is the way also to call on the Africans that are in the diaspora, those that have means. They are still investing a lot in the Western economy. Please, please, Africa is your home. Africa is the future. History will remain or will return against you for not investing in your continent. Please invest a lot in the continent, also in power change, because at times, if those who are there think that they're totally free to do whatever they do, why not invest in? But that investment is not about financing a political party so that they can overthrow no, that's not even, that does not change anything. Invest in the youth for them to have good education. And why not create scholarships? A single individual can invest maybe $10 million and organize or create an organization so that even across Africa, you can have scholarships. We know in Ghana they have education, University of Education that we don't have in Africa, in Togo. And I was one of the lucky students to attend that university in 2014 before coming to Togo to start teaching. And that one is a great thing, you know, to have something like that. We don't have that university. So a lot of funds must be made available so that many students at the university level here in Togo can go to Ghana, for example, our neighboring country, attend that university, learn a lot of things about education, and come here and replicate it here. Because the last I know, that we were the last group that went to Winneba School of Education in 2014, and since then, I haven't heard about any promotion going there. And so individuals can also invest and attract or encourage students to go there so that we can start positive actions in Africa. Maybe if you want me to emphasize on something particular, again, maybe you can repeat, you can call on my attention to do that. But once again, I think we have to do a lot about our political arena, the political will of our leaders, so that the change we want can be really triggered and they can start for good. Because no matter what we do, if they are not there to accompany, nothing will work, nothing will move. And if we can have leaders capable of bringing the change we want, capable of developing some good, we want Africa to change. We want the young Africa to innovate. And for that to happen, it's education. They have to learn it. And that education is not the one we do in the bush, where you study, you graduate, you come to university, you cannot even speak correct English, you cannot even speak correct French. That's already a problem. How can that person go digital even if they have opportunities? How can they if they can't speak? And how can we also continue learning in other people's language? No country has developed with another country's language. We have our mother tongue, our national language that we must foster. South Korea is using the Korean language for development before English come. English is second. China is using Chinese. Are we going to talk about Japan? Are we going to talk about Iran? All those countries, we are still running after the colonizers' language, and we are enjoying ourselves with that, not knowing that it's one of the hindrances, one of the obstacles for our development, because we can never well understand ourselves in using foreigners' language, and we cannot really promote STEM education, science, technology, engineering. We cannot promote these by teaching them only in English and French. We have to learn mathematics in our mother tongue before we could really innovate. So this is my take. It's a bit general. I didn't go specific to your question, but if you want me to come back to it, I'm here. Thank you, Dando.
Thank you, Dr. Kofi. You have said a handful, and I'm really happy that you touched on, because all of us here, we're education leaders. So we are more than capable of, taking over the government side of education. Nothing is stopping us. We know what our countries need in the education department. So yeah, if you get an opportunity, go there and campaign, and then we will vote. We will vote digitally. We will vote digitally for you.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Dr. Kofi. Yeah, let's be in charge of our education departments, and we invest, because others they don't see the tangible profits that will be there once our education is on point. Okay, Dr. Wisdom, I'm coming back to you. Greetings again.
Okay, very well.
Yes, thank you. Your questions are, as an EdTech founder, what innovative digital tools are emerging in Ghana to support both teachers and learners? Question 2 is, how can EdTech startups collaborate with ministers of education to scale their impact nationally?
Right. Thank you very much, respectfully, honorable partners. I think we have come to the place to understand that as Professor Abochi rightly said, it needs, how do you call it, the fundamental policies of funding. And I believe that for about years now, our country has so much developed into such a key of digitalization, and for that matter, the gone president, and then the incumbent president, and the government also has continued in that same stage of establishing this digital implementation, onto which now we have a ministry on its own that focuses on digital implementation in when it comes to the edutech. Now, in my country, there are several digital tools that are emerging in Ghana. That is to enhance both teaching and learning experiences. Now, these tools range from that we would say mobile-based platforms for accessing educational content to varied AI-powered tutoring systems and tools for collaborative learning and personalized feedback. An example of these tools that are actually so rapidly emerging in Ghana, which has actually had an impact on the edutech education in Ghana, has to do with the e-campus based platforms of learning, That's to do with a platform that allows students across Ghana to access lessons, quizzes, and revision materials via smartphones. So they use their smartphones to access their lessons, revision, and materials, so to say, to enhance their productivity when it comes to learning. And then the second aspect is the use of the ENISA education. Is also a mobile-based platform that provide access to learning plans and allow students to ask teachers clarifying questions via SMS. So it's also another platform which makes it easier. As rightfully Professor Gladys rightfully said, getting away gradually from the traditional classroom to the digital classroom to enhance productivity and to establish the core impact that especially he had into education, mobile that can be used offline, a teacher training that can be used offline. And when you go to our colleges of education, when you go to the Accra College of Education, which has now been converted by the government now into a university of education. Winneba is there, as rightly Professor Kofi Abuchi said, the Winneba. And we have the Kumasi, we have the Accra, that with the training college, the Takrady, which is the Western Ghana. We have the South, add this on to the Accra, we have to the Volta, we have the whole which also opportunity for those in the north boundary of Ghana, talking about Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and also to come to participate in all these things. And we also have AI-powered learning, And in other, we have the AI tutors. We have the AI tutors, and that is a platform which also, is a lesson, which is we call a U lesson. Use AI to personalize learning experiences by assessing each student's learning style. Okay, each student learning style is another platform where we use to assess students, their IQ, their EQ, and also establishing their mode of learning. We have students, they are very slow in picking up things. We have students, they have diverse way of learning and picking up things. So in this, the government has actually invested into this platform so that we can assess every student and based on their smartness and quickness to respond to teaching and learning. So providing students' learning style and providing customized learning and exercises. So this student, this is the way he or she picks learning. Okay, this is the way to go with this student so that that impact can be made. So these are some of the things we are doing in Ghana. Then the third under that is the collaborative and interactive tools. So has to do with the Google Classroom, a learning management system that enables teachers to distribute assignments, communicate with students, and share resources. So it has to do with interpersonal skills, has to do with that. Then we have the Kahoot. It's also another platform that uses, gamified quizzes and surveys to engage students in interactive learning experiences. Interactive learning experiences. So these are some of the things that we're doing in Ghana. How to do it. Then we have another notable tools, which is actually as Professor Kofi Abuchi said, and then Professor Gladys said, about the local way of also bringing our students to the know-how and the knowledge of what they must be. We have the Anansi teacher, Anansi the teacher. That is one of the things. It's a concept of the spider. The way the spider is so smart and then very innovative when it comes to the IQ usage. So the government has also built in that app, which is an augmented reality app that uses gamification and then storytelling to teach STEM concepts. Exactly. That is from the grassroots to the. Then we have the last one, which is the Ghana Rates. The Ghana Rate. It is also an initiative that utilizes low-cost tablets, okay, and Raspberry Pi devices with an offline digital library to improve literacy. So these are some of the things that the government has invested into it, and then we are actually giving it to it. But one of the profound things that the government is investing into is to, supply tools to teachers. The last time, I think the newly recruited teachers that were posted to their constituencies and districts, I was a key witness to that many teachers were given laptops to enhance their productivity, to impact students in their classroom and their learning. And the government is also now building a lot of ICT centers, which will enhance our quest and desire for great audios. Now, coming back to the second question, as you specifically said about the impact and that so far, our nation, Ghana, has actually needed, if I really understood you very well, the second question talking about the impact, rightly? Your Honor, talking about the second question about the impact?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. Now, one of the impacts Ghana or the impacts Ghana and other ministers and stakeholders have engaged so far in bringing Ghana's digital education to the limelight, which is very soon has to be inculcated into law, that it is very, compulsory, and it is also being detailed into our curriculum in the school, from the basics to the secondary, through to the tertiary institution, whereby IT schools and colleges are not enough, but coming down to the grassroots to grow from the grassroots to the place of excellence when it comes to this thing. So one of the impacts that has happened in our country, as we do the ministry, the government, and the stakeholder agencies, impact so far on digital education in Ghana, increased investment into digital education. Talking about it is now in the Parliament of Ghana that by the Education Minister, that's some of these should be incorporated into law. And then the act, some of the subsection of the Acts of Education, supposed also to be actually get involved in the Hansard, so that it can be a reality, not only as this in the way they left it. So increased investment. So government and the private sector and other stakeholders are now investing in digital infrastructure and education technology solutions. That is investment that is to that is to be done, and has brought an improvement in the digital infrastructure, such as internet connectivity and digital devices. Now, increased access to digital learning resources and online platforms. That has been the impact so far in Ghana. And one of the greater impact, the enhancement of quality education through technology enabled learning, technology-enabled learning, which by the kind courtesy of COVID-19, Ghana stand out to use this medium in most of the classes or educational forums. Now, in going forward, one of the outstanding impacts so far is the growing adoption. Most schools are now adopting learning solutions and online learning platforms, and it has becoming increasingly, popular to education. And now, this growing adoption has also actually increased access to quality education for more students. As we speak now in Ghana, for more students, and no one is an exception. I don't know, it's not an excuse. So it has also improved student engagement and motivation through interactive digital content. Yes. And then 3, it also has also enhanced teacher-student relationships through personalized learning experiences. So these are some of the impacts it has made in Ghana. And narrowing down to conclude, it has also innovative solutions in Ghana. Now, new technologies such as artificial intelligence, the virtual reality are being explored to enhance educational outcomes. So these innovative solutions have the potentials now, and it is providing personalized learning experiences tailored to individual students and students' needs. So as we actually said before, some of the challenges we spoke before, now some of these things are actually bringing impact into the system, and there are more and more and more. Now, to conclude with this second question, one of the greatest impacts and outstanding one is partnership. It has brought into the nation, partnership. Now, this partnership, to talk about it, is the collaboration between the government and the private sector stakeholders and educational institutions, and it has become a crucial force for driving digital transformation in Ghana. So this has also provided funding and resources for digital infrastructure and education technology solutions, and support the development of digital content and resources. And to end, this has been a facilitator in sharing of best practices and expertise in digital education. So this is submission to your questions so far, delivered and submitted on this great platform. Respectfully, I'm most grateful.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wisdom. It was very, very insightful, and I like the part where there are apps that are offline, since we heard from different countries representatives saying that education can be expensive. So if we have those tools which can be used offline, that will be also great. Maybe we can also expand and also look into how the learners can also be helped by, having access on those apps that will help them without the need of the expensive data. Okay. So to close off our second round.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wisdom. We're going to move to Mr. Sanga. Mr. Sanga still with us? Yes.
Hey, madam. Yes.
Yes. So my question to you, Senegal is recognized for its national EdTech policy efforts. What have been the key lessons from implementing digital transformation at scale? And also, how do you ensure inclusivity that is looking at language, rural access, and also gender, to mention a few, when deploying EdTech solutions at a national level.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you. J'espère que mon traducteur est là pour m'appuyer un peu. Je vais me mettre un peu au goût de la famille anglophone avant le sommet, certainement.
OK.
Monsieur qui aide à la traduction est là. Oui.
Je-
Maurice,
je
merci
ferai
pour
l'effort-
tout.
Je ferai l'effort pour traduire.
Oui. J'ai l'impression d'avoir un peu anticipé sur les questions qui ont été posées lorsque je prenais la parole, compte tenu du fait que mon micro était coupé. Je ne sais pas à quel niveau vous étiez.
Okay, he's asking, he said and because of his microphone that was off, his system was off, he didn't get the last question you asked.
Mais à faire un peu de
Okay.
tour, on a l'impression d'avoir la même photo de famille, tellement les réalités d'un pays à un autre sont similaires.
Elle répond à ce que vous avez demandé, la dernière question. Donc, si vous voulez répondre aux premières questions, vous pouvez commencer, mais sinon, elle veut clarifier maintenant la deuxième question.
Oui, la deuxième question, c'était un peu sur les stratégies d'inclusion ou d'inclusivité.
He's
Yes.
asking-
How do you ensure inclusivity when deploying EdTech solutions at a national level?
C'est
That
ça.
was question 2.
Vous avez compris?
J'ai compris, oui. J'avais évoqué un peu dans ma première intervention un peu les variables environnementales, les vulnérabilités territoriales, surtout la zone rurale. C'est évoqué dans la question.
He's saying his
Là, il y
first
a des
intervention, he
disparités.
talk about, si nous allons
Mhm.
traduire, il faut que ça soit quand même.
C'est ça.
Okay.
Il faut traduire, oui.
Okay, he said his first intervention, he spoke about those who have limited access to digital education, like the rural population. Which is
Dans
the
les pays,
second
on a
question.
constaté qu'il y a une disparité entre zone urbaine, zone semi-urbaine, zone rurale, capitale régionale et autres localités.
In the country, they realize that there are three different groupings. You have the urban, the rural, and they call them zones. That are those who have access, like the urban area, the rural area, which is divided into two. One group has access, one group have limited access.
Les disparités se traduisent tant au niveau de l'accès à Internet que la distribution des équipements.
That is also experienced in the area of internet distribution. The disparity is among those who are into rural areas who have less access to internet distribution.
À côté de l'Internet et des équipements, le fondamental, c'est un peu la ressource humaine. Les enseignants expérimentés, le plus souvent, ont tendance à être dans les zones un peu urbaines.
Most of the challenges are in the area for the rural people, are in the area of those who are trained teachers or trainers of computer or digital education. They are mostly in the urban area and not in the rural areas. Those are the disadvantages.
Conséquemment, comme cela se passe dans la plupart des pays africains également, vous convenez avec moi que la distribution, l'accès à l'électricité pose problème.
Electricity also is a big challenge. Lack of electricity in rural areas also is a big challenge.
C'est pourquoi le Sénégal a fait des efforts, comme je l'ai dit dans mon intervention tout à l'heure, au-delà des plateformes, parce que tout le monde n'a pas accès aux plateformes. Quand on n'a pas Internet, cela va sans dire on n'a pas accès aux plateformes, raison pour laquelle on a expérimenté la mise à disposition de tablettes dans 6 académies sur les 16 que compte le pays.
Sur les combien? 6? 16?
6 sur 16 académies, inspection d'académie.
Okay, it's that's one of the reasons, because of the lack of electricity in the different rural areas. Out of 16 academic institutions in the country, academics in the country, they were able to digitize about 6 of them.
C'est vrai que dans beaucoup de pays, les tablettes sont distribuées, l'expérience est commune, mais ce que le Sénégal a fait consiste à embarquer des contenus par niveau préscolaire, élémentaire, moyen, secondaire, enseignement arabo-musulman et éducation des adultes, alphabétisation des adultes. C'est des tablettes avec des contenus embarqués.
They have divided that into categories where they start from primary, pre-primary, primary, schools with tablets that are also that contain all of the materials needed for such digital education. They've also distributed from primary all the way to even adult education.
À mon avis, l'enjeu transversal que cela pose entre les pays, c'est que l'Afrique soit à mesure de produire suffisamment de contenu adapté, axé sur nos valeurs sociales de référence.
One of the things that they're concerned about is the fact that Africa needs to be able to adapt a system or produce what can be adaptable to the environment in which people live.
L'autre enjeu également que cela implique, c'est un peu d'établir la carte des vulnérabilités, non seulement entre pays, mais à travers différents pays, étant entendu que nous sommes divisés par la colonisation. Il serait bien de questionner la vulnérabilité, quel que soit le pays considéré, pour pouvoir avoir une typologie.
One of the things is that the issue of the division within the different nations, where colonization has caused the division among the nations. So it's kind of challenging for some areas. Some people, everybody don't have access to the same materials or what they should have access to for digital education.
Nous avons essayé de faire ce niveau d'effort avec l'équipe EdTech de la Banque mondiale suite aux formations EdTech auxquelles nous avons participé. Ils ont séjourné ici au Sénégal, avec d'autres pays de la sous-région, Burkina Faso, je crois bien, si je ne m'abuse. Il y avait un peu la Côte d'Ivoire, beaucoup de pays en tout cas, avec qui nous partageons, les pays du Sahel, les enjeux un peu de la mobilité et de l'exclusion.
So what happened in Senegal recently with c'est-à-dire Banque mondiale, bien?
Vous savez, je ne sais pas s'il y a des gens qui ont participé, mais la Banque mondiale organise annuellement des
Non,
sessions
je dis,
EdTech.
c'est avec la Banque mondiale que ça a été fait?
Oui, ça a été fait avec la Banque mondiale.
Okay, je voulais seulement vérifier. He said that there was a program done with World Bank with Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, and many other nations within the sub-Saharan African nations represented at that meeting, discussing the same issue of digital education within the sub-region. It was done in Senegal with the engagement of the government.
L'idée forte, c'était de voir un peu ceux qui sont déplacés par les conflits, ceux qui sont déplacés par la transhumance, ceux qui sont exclus, pour quelque raison que ce soit, comment les prendre en charge à travers un peu l'école ouverte.
What they've done, what they were looking at is looking at the needs of those who are displaced due to war or other challenges that make them not to go to be in their own places of habitation. And these are those who are more vulnerable or inaccessible when it comes to digital education. Those are some of the points that were discussed at that meeting.
Conséquemment, le Sénégal est en train d'élaborer son document de projet. Les pays de la sous-région également, je crois que les 4 pays qui étaient nous, les pays du Sahel, sont en train d'élaborer leur document de projet sur l'école ouverte.
Senegal is developing a document project on that, and there were nations that were selected within the Sahel nations. They're working on something like that to collaborate among themselves.
Avec 2 modalités principales, réinsertion des déscolarisés, des handicapés, des gens confrontés à quelque vulnérabilité que ce soit, réinsertion ou réorientation dans la formation professionnelle à travers toujours l'apprentissage hybride, présentiel, distanciel.
Okay, they're trying to also include some of the projects within the project they have, reaching out to physically challenged or people who are challenged in their lives with different issues, and also looking towards developing professional workers in some of those areas, because those who have less access to such, who are vulnerable, like people who are handicapped, people who have no access, they're trying to work on that to have a program developed by the government that will bring about the inclusion of such people within some digital education.
L'expérience intéressante que nous avons vécue avec la Banque mondiale, c'est l'identification d'écoles associatives qui prennent en charge les enfants sourds-muets, les handicapés moteurs, notamment.
Okay, what they've looked
Les
at
écoles
is
associatives.
there's some organizations or associations who have come up with some program with World Bank to develop something for children who are deaf, who also those who have challenges with hearing impairment, to see how they can help them in the process.
La question que ça suggère également entre pays, comme nous allons vers un forum, c'est comment avoir des référentiels de compétences numériques qui mettent le focus sur un peu l'inclusion, qui met à profit les IA, tout en tenant compte de nos valeurs sociales de référence. C'est une question qu'on se pose. On n'a pas les réponses encore au Sénégal,
Now,
mais
the
on est
question-
conscient de l'enjeu.
The question that is asked, looking at the challenges, is the fact of what can be done and what needs to be done with regards to all of the discussions that have been held. How can these issues be faced or be looked at? We know that Senegal has not gone very far into it, but these are the issues and questions at the back of our minds as we talk on these issues on this kind of platform. What is being done about it?
La seconde question que ça pose toujours par rapport à l'inclusion, c'est comment l'Afrique peut développer une entreprise du numérique.
The second question or concern is how can a question of inclusivity, inclusion is the fact that how can Africa develop her own digital educational system?
Entreprise sur la production d'équipements adaptés, parce qu'on parle d'handicapés ou de gens vulnérables. Quels sont les équipements adaptés pour ces gens identifiés? On est ensemble?
Well, the next issue of concern for him is when we talk about handicaps or those who are challenged in different ways or physically challenged, the issue of developing materials that will be adaptable to the environment or the African environment. He got cut off, so I couldn't get the last part of his statement.
Comment produire également des contenus adaptés pour les gens qui ont des besoins éducatifs spéciaux?
And how to develop materials or equipment that will be adaptable for those who are special needs, those who have different special needs in terms of their condition, physical conditions.
Nous sommes en train de travailler avec l'Université de Saint-Louis sur le suivi un peu de ces données, parce que l'Afrique a besoin également de données factuelles pour comparer les pays, mais également pour voir ce qu'ils pèsent sur la galaxie numérique. Est-ce que nous avons des données factuelles au-delà de nos récits? Ghana, Togo, Côte d'Ivoire, Sénégal. Est-ce que nous avons une base de données qui nous permet de voir qui nous sommes, combien nous pesons, et pour mieux planifier le développement du numérique et de l'intelligence artificielle?
And so, one of the concerns that they have that they're also looking at is the issue of developing a platform. How can there be a platform developed where some of these different nations, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, and other places can be connected and know where they are or where we are on a digital platform, and how also we can get into the AR that is now that is being used right now, presently, and being informed from a regional level.
Ça justifie un peu le partenariat que nous avons avec l'université, et c'est le moment également de remercier les professeurs d'université, madame de l'université du Nigeria, le professeur de l'université du Ghana. C'est dire en quelque sorte quel est le rôle des universités dans les études et dans la planification.
It wants to also say thanks to those who are from Ghana, from the university in Ghana, the ones from Nigeria, our panelists who have spoken about these things at the different university levels, to talking about the need for these things. It's important because the universities that should be able to be involved in such a project or such a program.
Je termine par, j'en avais parlé, j'avais évoqué un peu notre coopération avec une entreprise japonaise, Tumiki, qui développe un peu les kits solaires en rapport avec l'intranet.
He spoke about the Japanese company that is also developing a material that is used for internet connection. NISI, a
please.
company called NISI.
NISI.
NISI. Okay. It's called NISI that is developing.
No. I'm trying to call the host. I think you can wrap it up now or something.
Okay.
J'ai pas
I
compris.
thought you were talking about a Japanese company. Il est en train de demander à un autre de couper, en fait, d'aller vers la fin du programme.
La fin des propos. Je m'en arrête là, c'est bon?
Non, oui, c'est bon. Ce
Oui,
que
c'est
tu as
bon.
dit, c'est l'accompagnant au Japon que tu as cité, que j'étais en train de voir comment faire, comment en fait avoir le nom précis.
Bon, je termine par une petite préoccupation. Maintenant, c'est la responsabilité sociale des entreprises. C'est bon?
I think he's frozen. Well, his last concern is about the responsibility of the different companies that operate in these different nations.
La plupart des composants que nous utilisons dans l'informatique, c'est des composants produits en Afrique, les mines.
Je n'ai pas bien compris.
Je dis que la plupart des composantes des outils informatiques, ordinateurs, tablettes, téléphones, c'est produit en Afrique, les matières premières.
Okay, I think it's frozen. His concern is all of the raw materials used for the production of computers, iPad, cell phones, and all these things are coming from Africa. First, raw materials coming from Africa. What are the contribution of the companies involved in the manufacturing to also be of help to these different nations from which the raw material are taken?
Le constat, c'est d'orienter peut-être des sommets comme le nôtre là pour aller vers des plaidoyers pour vraiment qu'ils contribuent davantage au développement du numérique. C'est la même chose avec les opérateurs en téléphonie. Il y a Canal+, que nous connaissons bien. Il y a Orange, il y a les banques, il y a les entreprises minières. Vraiment, ça, c'est une question peut-être politique au-delà des systèmes éducatifs. C'est ma conclusion. Mais que nous puissions faire des plaidoyers pour qu'il y ait un retour sur investissement. Merci pour votre aimable attention et pour la traduction. Michel Maurice, merci.
Okay, his conclusion is that maybe this kind of platform needs to be developed in a way that it can get to some of these different companies and institutions that are involved in, like Orange and other companies that are involved in marketing these different products, and how they can also be requested or presented with projects that will be able to help digital education in Africa, because they are the ones that are marketing these products, which raw materials are taken from the nations to develop. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morris, and thank you, Mr. Sanga. Thank you very much for the information that you have shared. Yeah, looks like South Africa. Looks like Africa has a long way to go, but hopefully it will be successful in the future, and also we'll find many solutions as we go to the School Summit Africa. So I would like to thank everyone. I would like to thank our panelists, Mr. Morris. Thank you very much for your services also, and also for your inputs. Thank you, and do hope that you get recognition there by Ivory Coast and be a Minister of Education. Everyone must be a Minister of Education and do the right things with education. Mr. Clifford, thank you also for your input. Professor Gladys, my exceptional leader, thank you very much. And also Dr. Kofi, thank you. I am voting for you. please follow that through. Be Minister of Education and lead. Dr. Wisdom, thank you very much. Also, I'm really happy to have met everyone. Mr. Sango, thank you. We are very, very happy. And you know, South Africa also needs to have French, and then we will understand each other in the future. I am glad to be here, and thank you to the listeners, and also my CEO will take care of the questions that are on the chats, and thank you very much for participating and spending time with us. Me, I am Ciao.
Thank you so much to the panelists and to Ntando as well. I'm pretty sure for everybody it has been a learning experience. So don't be afraid to engage with us, for those of you who are on our WhatsApp group, and as well keep the conversation going. I know we cannot exhaust everything, and I know time is a factor, but we would like to continue with this. So kindly don't hesitate to engage with us through the various platforms, now that we're also looking at how technology is enhancing education or the teaching and learning space. I would like to give this back to the convener, that is Mr. Odusanyo, all the way from Nigeria, so that he can give us our closing remarks. But again, the chat room is very open. Don't hesitate. It was such a pleasure. My name is Grace Irungu from Kenya. Mr. Odu, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Grace. Thank you, Tando. You've done a massive job, a great job. And a very thank you to all the panelists, Professor Gladys, Mr. Morris, Dr. Kofi, Dr. Wisdom, and everybody that has been here, and all countries of the Western Africa that are represented. Let me start by saying that my name is Odusoya Olarit Madiola, the convener for School Summit Africa. And then this dialogue series is a precursor. This dialogue series is a precursor to the School Summit happening September 4 to 6, 2025. And it's going to be a hybrid program, online, and then of course, physical event. The last day will be physical event. So if you have schools that needs to be part, please do well to engage them so that they can be part of this wonderful summit. Now, having said that, one of the essence of this dialogue series is to identify various regional issues that we have, and see how we can provide solutions. Last week, we had the Southern African Schools Dialogue Series, and then at the end of the day, we were able to do some recommendations and of course some resolutions. Unfortunately, I couldn't stay longer, but of course, from what I've picked one or two. Like we have done for the Southern African education, one of the key points for Western, one of the major issues in Western region, as far as education is concerned, is a language barrier. And then we will try and bridge that. Like we have done for Southern, we are going to have what is called a platform. And that platform, all the panelists here, of course, will be the chair. They are representing their countries. We're also planning to bring in more countries from Western Africa, so that once they form that panel, we'll start action plan immediately. One of the things we are going to be doing is called the exchange program, the Western African Education Exchange Program. And the essence of Western African Education Exchange Program is to try to learn both culture and, of course, strategies and activities as far as education is concerned, and interact across board so that we can engage people. We learn what is obtainable here, we learn what is obtainable there, and of course, we begin to work together more as a unit. One of the things I've found that generally is that Africa is too wide and separate when it comes to developmental activities. And the more we get closer, the better for us. That's one thing I have found that Africa needs to work together. Once we identify ourselves as one, and then we now work in regions, it makes it more strategic, it makes it more collaborative, it makes it more effective and productive. Africa as a growing continent needs to work more if it has to reach a grown continent. We are not there yet at all. We are extremely far, and that is more reasons why we need to come together as a continent, then work in the regions. So then, of course, the panelists again will form the team. We are going to develop a framework. We will call it Western African Schools and Education Development Framework. Of course, we are going to make this available in prints and in digital form, so that everybody can have access to it, and of course begin to work with it. There will be some of the recommendations you have made in this dialogue series. Again, we are still going to sign a communique. It's going to be signed by the panelists here, and the communique will be directed to the ministries of education of each country, so that we can see what we can do with it. And I think a major issue in West Africa is quite similar to Southern, but Western is a bit unique. In Western Africa, we have a lot of policies that are useless. We have a lot of policies that do not make sense. We have a lot of policies that are not sustainable over time. We have a lot of policies that are not realistic. We have a lot of policies that do not conform to the present need of the growing population that we have, and of course the teeming youth. So again, in Western Africa, we have a problem of policy engagement. We have policy making, policy formation, policy development, policy deployment, and of course, policy engagement and enforcement. We don't know how to enforce policies. We don't know how to sustain policies. Is a major problem in West Africa. And of course, I saw some of the charts that said, how do we engage them? Once we begin to serve as a board, and that is why I said every panelist we have invited, they become a board member of whatever of the regions we are trying to set up. And from there, we can begin to invite government. Once we start seeing that way, that we are Western African this and that, we invite, we can start engagement online first, then from online, we take it to the physical. It's not going to be a time thing, it's going to be gradual, but we all need to be committed to the cause. And then, apart from policy and language, another problem I think we majorly have in Western Africa is that the bulk of organizations that are working or companies in Africa, in Western Africa, do not support major educational programs and initiatives. And of course, West Africa is extremely blessed with companies, with corporate organizations that could have drive educational goods. And one of the things that I've seen is that they are not enough. West Africa, they are much more interested in entertainment than education. I don't know of course, I'm talking as a person that is coming from Nigeria, and of course, Western Africa is a trend that I have studied over time. Again, we need to start engaging them. And of course, for instance, this School Summit Africa, we have written to a lot of companies in Nigeria, and they are not ready to help. They are not ready to sponsor. It's one of the reasons why we have to even say, okay, let people pay for registration so we can cater for our speakers, cater for the materials we want to use, the venue, and other logistics. That's why we say people pay. But in a situation where we have enough sponsorship. It should have been free so that we can have at least 3,000, 5,000 schools to be involved. So, but if it was entertainment we want to do, you will see a lot of companies coming up. And we are blessed with a lot of companies in Western Africa. But again, is a major problem I found out in West Africa. So we need to start pushing and telling the narrative and tagging all these corporate organizations that the future of every nation lies in its education. If we don't get education right, development can never be right. Education is the golden key to development of any nation. And any nation, of course, we do not commit to education by mouth. And that is one of the major problems in West Africa again. Most ministries, most governments are committed to education by words of mouth, but it's not reflecting in the budget, in the policy, and of course, in the way things are being done, in engaging the right persons. And in West Africa, education is more politicized than being a technical issue. It's more of a politics than a technical issue. It's more of a politics than a professional issue. So it's a whole lot of problems that we have in West Africa. However, again, like I've said, we'll start from somewhere. And from now, 4 things are very certain. All the panelists today will form the Western board that we have said. That's the Western Africa Schools and Education Board. From there, number 2, we are going to develop a Western Africa education development framework that will suggest, and of course, hopefully, we will have people talking about it. Like I've said it, that this dialogue series, it will not be just once. Even after the summit, we'll be having it at least 3 times or 4 times in a year. So to keep us engaged. And again, we are going to have exchange programs. It will be virtual. You start from virtual, and then from there, we begin to see how we're engaging ourselves physically. So everybody can travel here and there, so that we can have a very good regional. These are some of the things or initiative that our leaders should be coming up with. But of course, here we are. And again, we are going to have a communique of recommendations and resolutions of this dialogue series. And then we are going to share with the ministries of education in Western Africa. This, of course, we engage ECOWAS more as well. These are some of the things I am very sure we are going to take steps on. Of course, all other issues, and again, engaging companies so that they should focus more on education. These are some of the things we do. We are not there yet, but all of us that are here in this program and those that will still be watching the recording afterwards, let us all be part of this change. Again, talking is cheap, action is golden. Talking is cheap, action is golden. That means that we need to start taking steps. You and I, we can achieve that together. On that note, let me say very thank you to everyone that are listening. I want you to register as many schools as possible. Of course, it's a paid program, the School Summit Africa. But of course, as God will help you, or let us spread it, we want schools to participate. In that summit, we want to look at how schools can become better, how we can offer quality education in our various, of course, there'll be regional discussions again. Each school heads will come together. What is happening? We are going to start that exchange program at the School Summit Africa, and we will see where we go from there, engaging a lot of schools. Please, if you have schools that need to register, let them register for the School Summit Africa. Please help us share it along so that we can get it done. Again, these are our little ways. These are little ways we can contribute to the development of the society. It is not until we have millions of dollars from there we can start something and we'll make education a great thing in the continent. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. I really appreciate you. And I believe that we will continue the discussion here afterward. Like Grace have said, go to all the social media platforms, School Summit Africa, like and share and engage in the comments. Go to the YouTube. This video will also be available on the YouTube. Like and share as well. Let's continue to be a good ambassador of the continent. One day, with some of these little efforts that we have started, it's going to reward us and we achieve whatever goal. Next week, God willing, we are going to be having the Eastern African Schools Dialogue Series. Of course, we have representatives from Kenya, from Ethiopia, from Djibouti, from Uganda, from Tanzania, from Rwanda, from Burundi, and so on. It's going to be another time to learn as well. We are going to reach all regions, one at a time. And I believe over time, this little initiative that is starting as a small will become a movement that will bring quality change to us. We are not doing it because we want to make name. We are doing it because it is what is necessary to do. We cannot just be, all of us cannot be looking, and we cannot be only be talking. I've always engaged in conversation. I've always challenged people, don't let us talk alone. We can be on Zoom all day long. We can be on Twitter all day long and be talking. Talking does not do anything. It is action that brings results. It's your little space. Please, let's start something. You can be part of this movement as well. We'll start calling for people to be in each region. Let's join the movement. It's going to be a better day for our continent very soon. I remain yours, Oduson Adiola, the convener, School Summit Africa. Very soon, Africa is going to get there. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, and bye.